lovely subscribers. And I'm back with the Lilith update, daily Astro chat, Astro report, Astro rant. I guess however you want to take it. I don't even know what this is. I just feel like this is such a great way for me to talk about the transits right now because they are not, super clear, and they are very intense. So I just changed my formatting. I hope you all enjoy this new format. Please comment below, if you have any questions on today's transits. It's just so interesting too, giving these reports day to day, and then literally it happens in my life. So it's just been a very interesting day to say the least. And yeah, these are going to be on weekdays. I didn't do it yesterday. It was the holiday in America. We have Memorial Day. It's like the unofficial start to summer here if you're not in the U.S. And it's a quiet Memorial Day. Obviously, we're still on social distancing here in New York City. I mean, quarantine and self-isolation is kind of still in effect here. But I hope if you all are local to New York or still in self-isolation, you try to enjoy the weekend nonetheless. So let's get into today. It's May 26th. And I really wanted to talk more about and dig into Mercury inching his way towards the North Node. So we have the North and South Node. The North Node is in Gemini, and the South Node is in Sagittarius. So, and the nodes spend around 2 years before it switches axis, and actually the nodes progression, they move backwards. So we had Cancer and Capricorn, especially while we went through, that major transit in January that essentially, was a trigger for coronavirus. We had Cancer at the North Node, and then we had Capricorn at the South Node. So now they've moved, and the focus is on Gemini and Sagittarius in that direction. And Gemini is really our locality and our local connections and who we know close to us. And now the focus, especially in the world that we're in right now, is really, really there. So we're having Mercury inch his way over. He's at 27 today, and he will be at the last degree tomorrow. And I can touch even more upon it as it goes more exact. And then Mercury will move into Cancer to make way for the upcoming Mercury retrograde. So when you have this Mercury so close to the North Node, this can be a trigger for some directional themes in your life. So if we're really focused on our community and we're really focused on people closest to us, Mercury is really encouraging that focus even more and that communication even more. So I think a lot of you will feel like you need to reach out to your local network. You need to reach out to your friends, especially now as things outside of New York. I don't mean to just focus on here, but things outside of New York are opening up. So it's not like there's tons of world travel like with Sagittarius, but with the North Node in Gemini, it's like now we're hyper-focused on our network, and people may be meeting in groups of 2 or 3, or being really careful about being in big groups or traveling longer distances so you're staying closer to your home and where you are. So I really think that this, as Mercury passes over the North Node and ingresses into the sign of Cancer, this is like the next couple of days is going to be very chatty for a lot of you guys, and getting back to those connections you may have kind of not fostered as much during this time, or just some new people who, you can meet at a digital networking event, or maybe somebody that you've met during quarantine digitally, and foster that connection even more. We do have Venus retrograde still in full effect. Today, Venus has moved back to 18 degrees, so we're no longer at that exact 20-degree square with Neptune, but the energy is still there. So again, we're in effect until June 25th with Venus retrograde. So as the square is kind of separating for now, you could still be kind of dealing with those Venus Neptune square themes and essentially in close relationships, things being brought to surface that are not too easy to talk about, or things that, a problem that has been kind of percolating may be brought up now, and it may be a difficult conversation. And the sun today is at 6 degrees in Gemini. We're moving along. And it's making a sextile with Chiron. So that also is it's supporting healing conversations that can help you heal as who you are individually. And this is just like a collective read that in your own way you could, especially if you're a sun in Gemini, or even if you're a Sagittarius rising, it's like the sun right now is putting a spotlight on the relationship house. And Gemini sextile Chiron in Aries is, yes, a sextile is an easy aspect, but it's essentially highlighting conversations that may be dealing with some old wounds that you haven't faced individually. So that can, yes, it's an easy aspect, but those conversations can be a little bit difficult. And then we have this lack of clarity with Venus retrograde in Gemini, square Neptune in Pisces. We also have the sun forming a square with Mars in Pisces. And that's also adding, I think, to the confusion a little bit more and the intensity of those conversations. So we're still going through this transit. And today also we have Mars in Pisces, sextile Uranus and Taurus. So I think this is also some ideas could really, just some creative thought can really come about for some of you guys with this transit. And this is going to last, as Mars moves more exact. Mars will be exact Uranus, 8 degrees. Actually, so that is actually separating. So yesterday Mars was exact with Uranus, 8 degrees over Memorial Day, but we're still feeling that energy today as that aspect kind of cools out and separates. You're still kind of feeling that sudden urge of creativity and innovation kind of coming through. And I think also, definitely indulging this weekend was a thing for a lot of people. And I think Pisces is synonymous with wanting to escape and wanting, whether it's escaping through natural means like meditation, plant medicine, or if it's escaping through, alcohol or other recreational substances. Not to say plant medicine's recreational, like a lot of it is used for healing, but this could be a time that you feel like you just want to escape, especially from what's, our reality. But my biggest advice during this transit is to try to use this time to not be in, I don't want to say be in touch with reality, because it's like this transit is very, things will come to you suddenly, and things are going to come to you from another place. It's not a rational or logical place. So escaping that can also cause for you to not deal with your woundings and your current issues at hand and your current feelings. So I really feel like taking some time to really work through your own thoughts and what comes up for you without escaping, that could definitely, I think, just for the collective, be, helpful. I mean, we all need to escape sometimes. Trust me, this has been an intense time. And we've been undergoing some intense transits. But sometimes, especially Chiron is teaching us when we face, especially Chiron in Aries is teaching us when we face past wounds or past things that are just not working or have been hurtful in the past, when we face up to those things and work through them without having to escape or wanting, an outlet to escape to, that can help us grow and change and develop as humans and handle our issues more. So I don't want to preach, I'm not here to judge anyone on anything, but I just feel that based on the transits, I just see a lot of escapism within the collective. And everyone deals with things in their own way. We even have the moon in Cancer right now. It's 6:30 p.m. on May 26th at 25 degrees, forming a trine to Neptune in Pisces. So this is like a placement that feels so emotionally, and this is an energy where it's like such emotional feelings are coming out. It's like the only way that you can feel like you can handle them is to escape reality. And sometimes that's not always, the best, because you may have escaped, but that problem will always be there. So it's like using that Chiron and Aries sextile the sun energy to kind of just try to face it and really come to some sort of peace with it if you can. You all know what issue I could be talking about, or what theme in your life that this applies to. You may not, this is a collective reading. And we still have Pluto and Jupiter making, a conjunction. I mean, Pluto is at 24 degrees and moving retrograde, and Jupiter's at 26 moving retrograde. We also have Saturn and Aquarius still close by, moving retrograde. And this is, as I've mentioned, a big retrograde month. Like there's not going to be speed and progress made right now. There's some delays that we're all going to have to deal with in various areas of life. And we have eclipses coming up that I'm going to touch upon as we get closer to June. But, we have Mercury retrograde coming up on June 18th as we get closer. So June is it's a slow month. It's a slow Gemini season. It's slow going into Cancer season. And a lot of karmic themes are being brought up for a lot of us. And the tendency to want to escape is still, this is happening with the collective. So it's like the universe is calling for us to really be present if we can and try to clear out some of this baggage that we've all been feeling and dealing with for this new reality. This is a reset to have the time to handle all this baggage of this new reality. And, the moon is now, it's opposite Pluto and Jupiter in Capricorn. So right now you're feeling a push and pull with your emotions and, feeling the need to be nurtured with, we've got change, like society has changed. Society is changing. And on the other hand, it's cold. It's a cold change. And you're going to have to deal with it. It's like the moon in Cancer wants to kind of crawl back up in, the natal womb and feel nurtured and not handle any of this stuff. But on the opposite side, we have these big planets all aligned with Pluto, Jupiter, and Saturn calling for this massive change. So, very interesting too. We have Lilith in Taurus. That's now at 0 degrees. And Lilith is going to make a conjunction with Uranus on the 28th. So we're kind of heading into that, and we're starting to feel the energy of that planetary alignment as well, which is all Uranus conjunct Lilith is somebody who in Taurus is an energy that, in terms of their self-worth and what they believe, they inherently, when they're vibrating at a high level, their self-worth comes from within. They are rebellious and independent because they don't need anyone's approval for anything. And we're going to have that sextiling Mars in Pisces. So that's just very interesting energy that's kind of coming into play now as Lilith moves out of Aries and into Taurus today. So we're having this theme of, I mean, this is like the bigger collective questions that the universe is asking, is like, is what you're doing right now in line with your self-worth? Is what you're doing right now aligned with your independence and who you truly are? And this can be relationships. This can be many facets of life. All of you are going through different facets. But is this current reality lining up? And Lilith takes action on things that are not lining up. If you guys, watch my Lilith through the signs, I go over the mythology and what it means, through the signs, and you can learn more about Lilith energy. But she doesn't stick around in a situation that is not 100% aligned with her self-worth and originality, and can make a sudden change if it's not. So that's such an interesting aspect to see. And I definitely think this week is, especially like these next few weeks are just so pivotal on all of our growth and spiritual journeys on this earth. I mean, I've spoken about this as like a great pause. I've spoken about keeping a high vibe. I've spoken about manifestation on this channel lightly, but this is really a time to figure out not just figure out who you are, but come into alignment with who you are. And if you don't understand who you are, use this time without distractions to figure out what it is, who it is that you truly are, and having your life align more with that as we enter this new portal and this new alignment. And whenever we enter something new, something old has to kind of change and shift. And that is what is going on right now. And I only say, high vibe and all this stuff is because that is essentially what is manifesting your outside world, is how you feel on the inside. The universe doesn't understand words. And also the understanding of your own personal power. And I feel like I say this all the time, but the universe is really trying to teach all of us our own personal power to manifest. And we all have forgotten that because of programming in society that kind of taught us like we're in our place and, this is it and you're not going to get out of it. But, this is definitely a shift in that direction. And you can see that with just how many teachers and spiritual healers and astrologers and psychic, like all of us are getting online so that we can really spread our message to all of you. And so I really want to empower you guys, really use this time you don't have to like start a business or start this or start that. It can even be having a meditation practice or starting that hobby that you feel passionate about, but other people may have thought was stupid. But starting the things that you never had time to do if you have that luxury, and keeping the mindset that you can manifest anything from here. Everything comes from here. So yeah. So thank you for watching the daily update. I also wanted to remind you guys, actually, I announced on YouTube and, sent an email and posted on social media, but I am partnering with The Village. They are a wellness brand based in Canada. And the founders are Kim and Chanel, who are both also women of color. And we really wanted to create a small, intimate event about 2 times a month where we essentially talk about astrology, and then you get private reading. There'll be a private breakout room on the Zoom. And essentially that's how we're going to run it. And, you can network and meet other women of color. So if you are interested, please check out the links below. There are only 6 spots. So that we can really give quality time to everyone and you really feel like you're fostering connections with other people. So I definitely encourage you If you're a woman of color and you want to connect with others, check that out below. So thank you so much, guys, for watching. Don't forget, if you love these videos, click the bell, hit the heart. If you like this video, that definitely helps, any support. And thank you so much. See you tomorrow, guys. Bye.